The views, opinions, and wild ramblings expressed on this podcast are strictly those of our hosts and do not reflect the thoughts, values, or overly serious policies of their employers, sponsors, advertisers, or anyone with a legal team. All scenarios we discuss are based on past experiences, most of which we barely survived, and have nothing to do with any of our current jobs or employers. Basically, don't sue us. We're just here for the laughs, not the lawsuits.
Welcome to the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR, the podcast where we blend workplace drama, HR nightmares, and a way too much oversharing into one wildly inappropriate package.
Your hosts, they're a real dream team. First, we have Mama Mel, the HR queen with a knack for keeping it real and breaking the rules when nobody's looking.
Heavy on the no one's looking.
Next, we have Dr. Green, the one with all the fancy-ass degrees and the questionable sense of humor.
E equals MC squared.
Such a nerd. I'm the Big Llama. I come for the big laughs, the bigger opinions, and absolutely zero filter, because I don't even know what that word means. And last but not least, we've got Jake from HR. He's not wearing any khakis, and it's questionable if he's even wearing pants, but he is here to ensure that we're breaking HR guidelines just for fun.
I'm always here to judge.
So buckle up, grab your handbook, maybe a cocktail, and join us as we figure out HR one awkward scenario at a time. Hello! Welcome back to another episode of Just for Friends Trying to Figure Out HR, the podcast where we unpack the messy, the complicated, the sometimes downright awkward realities of HR. I am joined by my amazing co-hosts, the Big Llama, Jake from HR, Dr. Green, who per usual is munching on something. Show the people what you've got tonight.
Gummy worms. I did have another butter.
Dude.
Dr. Pepper. Oh, it's not done. And then sunflower seeds. And I just finished a Coke.
You look like you're about to go sit at some field somewhere on a Saturday morning with all your little tackle box of snacks.
Oh, look. You know what they say? Haters always hate.
Okay.
Listen, you're about to visit Wilford Brimley because you got that diabetes.
No, diabetes.
So you guys,
Leave my diabetes alone. He rolled back into the kitchen.
He went to go get some more snacks.
I don't understand how you can eat all of that and still just function. Like I would be out.
Normally I don't. I just like, like whenever you're eating dinner, you like to have a variety of things. So you like to have some mashed potatoes, corn, macaroni and cheese, steak, boom. Like, you get a little bit of each. Sometimes I want a good old fashioned gummy worm. Sometimes I just want a good old fashioned Nutter butter with peanut butter. And then sometimes I need the salt. And so I get that.
Have you seen the tackle boxes that I'm referencing? They're like all over TikTok.
I'm
going to send you one.
Okay.
They're just like tackle boxes with little individual compartments, and people fill them up with different snacks. So like if you want to have sweet, savory, salty, spicy, whatever you want, you need one of those.
You should send it to me with snacks filled inside of it, and we'll be good.
It sounds like a box for bipolar people.
I love catching up with you guys. This is always fun.
Like the fidget spinner of snacks.
Gee.
Right.
Or the fidget box, whatever those little boxes were. All right, guys. So our topic tonight is a really good one. Everybody knows HR, right? As people, where you should be someone that can keep confidential information. There are certain situations where we, have to share some things. So our topic tonight is confidential versus transparent, and where should HR draw the line? Um, I think I don't know that there is a spot where I'm like, this is where you draw the line, because I think it's very dependent on what the situation is. But what, like, just hearing that, right? Where does HR draw the line? Where does your mind go with that?
Spreading too much information when it's if you're in a leadership position, it's a lot more. I say it's a lot more difficult because you're trying to give as much information as you can, but then also not giving more than you should, which is, I feel that line can be when it's, you're supposed to disseminate information. You're supposed to be able to go, okay, they don't need to know the extra junk over here because that doesn't apply to them right now, or it is not it's not a place that we need to go to right now because it could either cause panic or cause more issues. But hey, guys, some changes are coming up, so don't worry. We're just going to keep on moving through it. They don't need to know half of y'all about to get fired because you're doing some stupid stuff. Like, they don't need to know those things. They just know, hey, changes are coming. It's going to be good. It's going to be good things for our organization. And whether they believe you or not, it's not your thing. But I feel that there's that kind of line. You have to be able to know what to share and what not to share.
No, I struggle. I struggle with this every time I get into an HR situation because I like to be open and transparent. I don't like being the keeper of information. I really don't like it, especially if it's regarding layoffs or organizational changes or some big impacts to like a benefit or something that I know is going to cause pain. I hate knowing this, but understanding the job, you got to keep that to yourself, or you got to keep it under wraps until it's properly presented, or it's an org announcement that's coming out, or whatever. So I don't like it because I'm a bad liar. I mean, my wife will tell you, like, she'll ask the question and then she knows instantly that the answer is already no, or I'm lying about what I'm about to say. So it's like the age old question, like, am I gonna get fired? Like when you ask that, when someone asks you that question, like, the answer is yes. My face will probably tell you that what's about to happen. Because it's so hard. It's so hard. But that's what the hardest part of this job, at least for me, in my opinion, about being in HR. I can't. I hate knowing stuff.
See, to me, where we talk about drawing the line in the sand, especially when it comes to us being in HR, I think it's so subjective, and we don't do it intentionally the majority of the time. But I would say it's a failure to plan, because when we get those communications that we have to read that's already been scripted, or we get information that's in our head that we need to share with the team, we don't role play with ourselves. We don't plan and practice that conversation to be prepared for the comeback questions, or especially if you work for a large organization where they give you the talking points a week early. You could have read over them. You could have already been like, I don't know if sharing that's the right thing, and then swing back to your leadership team and say, we need to remove this because of X, Y, and Z. Whether it's with an investigation, company changes, is the majority of the time we overshare unintentionally, and it creates more hassle because, one, like Big Llama said, we're trying to be transparent. We want to give them as much information that's possible so we don't come off as being like sneaky. We're trying to hide information. But like, what is that line? And I don't think there is a right answer. Every single situation, and honestly, every single company is different, because depending on how big your company is, the right answer for a company with 1,000 employees is going to be the most inappropriate thing to do with a company with 10,000 employees.
What investigation? No. Never overshare in investigations. That's something you shouldn't cross the line on, especially when it's complete.
But I will tell you, when it comes to investigations, that's even harder because you have so many inexperienced people that, yeah, okay, they've done basic mom and pop investigations, but I'm talking about the ones like with large corporations where you're dealing with sexual assault, fraud, embezzlement, gun violence or weapons, and you're having to use the right information. And I say this out of transparency, but to manipulate the person you're interviewing to give you the information you need. So sometimes you have to strategically overshare some things to get what you need. That's more important. But what is acceptable in that situation? Like, what is okay and what is not? And when you get people that are not experienced in employee relations, I'm honestly, I will tell you, I've only met 5% of people in my life in employee relations that know where that line is in each case individually.
Do you guys think it's the same with, like, does that line go away between HR folks?
I think it does.
I do too.
I think it does because we all know HR is human and we have relationships, whether we want to admit it or not. We have relationships with people outside of HR in some form or facet that we talk to. We have other people that we vent to, other HR reps that they have friends. So I want to say I truly believe that I know who can keep things confidential. And while I'm probably 98% sure I know who I can and can't, there are some investigations that are just too sensitive, too high risk, too confidential that you can't. If you have true integrity and you want to do it correctly, you have to keep it to yourself. It's literally, it's like working for, the NSA or the CIA. It doesn't matter that they have the clearance. The question is, do they need to know? Because you don't know who they talk to. You don't know if they're under investigation for sharing information. You don't know who's in their office or next to them overhearing this conversation that they thought was confidential.
Well, I look at it like doctors, like like the HIPAA laws and shit like that. Like I always feel like if you're in HR, we're sharing a common confidentiality. I used to go on an investigation. It was crazy. I come back to my team and be like, you won't believe this shit, right? And then we just chat about it. But understanding that group, or that it wasn't friends, we were coworkers in the same team. They understand they should know this is confidential information. Now, I think there's a section here we talk about oversharing and how it backfires. It can backfire even with HR, but that's how I would view it. Would say, look, we are all in the same business here. We should know what we can share. And so it was kind of, I hate to use the word, but it's like a safe space to share your information, to kind of vent a little bit, because all of you are are in the same boat. So I don't know. I've always found that was my little out, but it has burned me for sure.
Oh yeah.
Have y'all
signed? Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I was thinking about when we talk to each other or we talk to a team that's in a meeting on an investigation or something that's work related, we don't do a lot of things that are very basic and other things. So I think about my kid, that has an IEP. Anytime we have an ARD, the first thing that they start off with is reading like the rights and confidentiality agreement, which is they stipulate, the information we're going to discuss today should only be shared with those who have a vested interest in this child or this IEP, blah, blah, blah. In HR, we don't say that because we think it's unspoken. We think it's a given. We think it's natural. But what we don't realize is it's better to have said it and not need to have said it than not to have said it and had to have said it. Because I do agree with you, Big Llama. We talk, we share information. And the one thing, I want to scroll here for a minute. If you are one of those people that you do have to share information with peers, or you reach out to someone and say, hey, I want to bounce this off you to get your thoughts on this investigation or this situation, limit the amount of information they need. They don't need to know the employee's full name. They don't need to know what location that employee works at. They don't need to know, exactly what day and what time it happened on. Like if you do have to have a invested conversation with a peer, a partner, someone in operations that you do have to relay information to, limit the amount of information you have to give them to mitigate the risk. So I think we all said it in one form or another.
So have y'all ever had to sign a confidentiality agreement?
I can't even count how many I've signed in my life.
I recently didn't come into this until within the last few years of my career, where I'm like, some people think that an NDA is the confidentiality agreement, which it is not. But a confidentiality agreement is like, some people have their whole team sign it, because then it is well known that, hey, you've all signed a confidentiality agreement. I could talk to any one of y'all. But it's still, as a leader, what to say, what not to say, give and not give. And so I think it's a lot easier, because then you're still holding everyone accountable, including yourself, to not break confidentiality. And that does not mean if someone threatens suicide, homicide, wants to slap Big Llama upside the head because he keeps looking around like a crazy person.
Bitch.
Yeah. My only advice to anyone listening, if they want to do a confidentiality agreement, make sure legal reviews it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I can tell you, I've seen companies that have them, and I'm like, where'd you get this from? Oh, I just Googled it. I'm like, do you know the risk that comes with a confidentiality agreement? Because it could come as you're closing the open door. It could come off as you're retaliating. It could be perceived as, you're telling them not to file an EEOC complaint or have an ADA complaint against you. It's like, it had to be very specifically worded. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of companies that don't do confidentiality agreements. They do, they'll do like an integrity statement, or they'll have it covered under ethics, so that if you do inappropriately share information with those who don't have a valid interest or a need, they'll use that clause to come after you, which they can use 15 other ways. Because, I mean, to me, I do like them some, but I'm not a fan of confidentiality agreements. NDAs, regardless of which one you sign, like you said, legally, there's a lot of, and I'm not going to get into detail on it because I'm not an attorney on it, but there's so many loopholes where those agreements become invalid based on certain facts or violations that surround them. So they're good to have in some cases, but it's best for your company to just have a really good ethics policy or ethics and integrity policy, however you want to word it. And then we all know you can have an employee sign 1,000 policies, but it's best practice when you preach it and when you teach it and you follow up to it on an annual basis. So, I think you touched on it, Dr. Green. When you have a new team, you got to talk with them about your expectations. Because I'll tell you, when I work with a team, the first thing I share with them is, look, I like to bounce ideas off my peers, my partners. I am about 75% open laterally, and I'm 100% open going up, but I never go down. And I tell people, if I share something with you and you have to report it through ethics, integrity, a policy violation, the law, you go right on ahead. But if it doesn't fall in one of those buckets and I find out that you're out here repeating things that I say, you and I will never have trust, and I cannot work with someone I don't trust with. What that looks like after that will be determined at that time, which is AKA, you may not be with us much longer. And I'm not just going to fire them for no reason, but we all know if I can't trust you to stay confidential, then I can't trust you to work for a company where things have to be kept confidential.
It's the Baylor situation all over again. I'm not saying you're fired, but
it's like, just go home. We'll call you later. We'll call you later and talk about your unemployment. I mean, your employment.
Your unemployment.
I'm not saying you're fired. No, yeah. I mean, it's again, this topic is pretty interesting because there's so many times that I learned from getting burnt on things, but then I've realized, and maybe we'll get to it later, but like the trick here is I don't say anything I wouldn't say out loud anymore. Like that I wouldn't, like if I'm gonna say it, you can quote me, you can record me. I don't give any shits about what I'm saying, because what I'm saying is I'm gonna be on the up and up.
I said zero shits.
Zero shits. I was gonna say two fucks, but I was trying to trying to keep it PG.
I was gonna say two fucks, but whatever.
Exactly. But no, honestly, to me, that's over the years I've learned. Obviously, you don't talk about certain like events that are going to happen. Again, we just talked about org changes, layoffs, those big type things. That's fine. You keep those close. But when I'm speaking in a meeting, in a group session, I'm not looking over my shoulders to see who's there. I'm just going to speak, and I feel comfortable in that because and again, I'm not going to disparage anyone. I'm not going to talk shit about someone. I'm basically going to talk facts, right? I'm going to say, hey, Joe Smith had a policy violation, and Joe Smith should get a write-up, whatever, right? So that if Joe Smith shows up, or Joe Smith's boss or the CEO, I say the same thing. Joe Smith had a policy violation. Joe Smith should be written up. Oh, Joe Smith's in the building. Joe Smith, you had a policy violation. You should be written up. Like it doesn't change. But when you start talking shit, you start, kind of making it very juvenile in that conversation. Then it gets twisted. It comes back. Oh, Kenny over in HR was all going off about management. No, it wasn't. I was speaking facts, and I said I said what I said, right? That's kind of the way I've looked at it moving forward.
A good way to word that, Big Llama, is it's not like it was 10, 20, 30 years ago where we just need to look to make sure the person sitting in the right seat has the authority or permission to be in the seat or to be in the room. It's now looking at, do they have the emotional intelligence to hear this conversation? Because they could be a vice president.
Yep.
But do they have the emotional intelligence to be a part of this conversation? And sometimes they have legitimate interest into the conversation, but the question still remains, do they have the emotional intelligence to be involved in this at this time?
It's great. It's a great point.
How often that's a really good point. How often do you ask yourself that? Just in like your daily activities, when you're about to have a conversation with someone, like truly, how many times a day are you like, is this person even emotionally intelligent?
To be honest, if you asked me that 10 years ago, my answer would be never. Never. And I'm sure, I'm gonna throw some spit out there. I'm sure Big Llama probably can jump in on it. I will tell you that we've all been bitten to where we've learned very quickly to ask ourselves, whether we ask that direct question of, do they have enough emotional intelligence, or can we trust them not to repeat this? It's the same concept. The questions might differ, but at the end of the day, the legitimate question is emotional intelligence. Is it there? I do it, I want to say 95% of the time. The 5% that I don't is when I'm on, talking to like one of you, or if I'm talking to like Miss Irma and I'm bouncing something off her, because we've built that rapport that I know I would bet my paycheck, I would bet my job that I could repeat something and it wouldn't get repeated to someone that's inappropriate or shouldn't have this information or shared for even that fact. So 95% of the time I question myself on, do I need to say this? And I'm going to scroll just for a minute. I cannot remember her name, but I watched this lady on TikTok. She used to be a Secret Service agent. And she talks about a lot of stuff that has to do with things that we deal with in HR. And I was watching a video clip of her the other day, and she comes on there and she goes, I have some advice. Shut the fuck up. And she said, the reason why I say this is because we go to work and we tell our peers everything. We tell our boss everything. We tell our subordinates everything. And even if it's not everything, we say things to them we don't need to say. And she goes, just shut up. You go further in life when you listen more than you talk. And when you do talk, you talk with a purpose. You talk for a reason. You talk to the right individual, the right audience, and I'm kind of paraphrasing because I'm probably using some terms she didn't use, but I was kind of shocked the way it started, like, shut the fuck up. And it's like, there's so much truth to it. It's like, talk less, listen more. It doesn't mean go be an introvert and not speak at all. It just means when you open your mouth, and when she said this, the first thing I thought about was you, Big Llama, because it's like, when you open your mouth, say something because there's a purpose to saying it and a purpose to who you're saying it to. She reminded me of you because I've heard you make comments like that before. And I'm like, oh, that must have been his ex. I'm like,
no, one thing I'm glad you mentioned it. It's like, I've done interviews, and I've done, interviews both for employment, for, investigations. People can't let the room just be silent. It drives me crazy. You want to fill the room with your voice. Answer the freaking question. Just answer it and shut up. Like you got it. Like, it's like, hey, what would you do in a situation where you saw someone stealing? Well, I would report that. And then I would file the papers, and then maybe the police get him. Like, shut up. Just you report it. That's the answer. Like, that's the short answer, to the point. But people just drone and talk, and then, like, they don't know when to stop talking, and it drives me crazy. But it's right on there. Like, that's what happens with people, is especially guilty people.
Yes.
They want to just keep talking. They want to just keep, because they feel like more. I learned that from my wife. She told me, because she knows I'm a bad liar. She's like, too many details. She says it every time. Too many details. I know you're lying.
You know what? When you said that, this lady keeps flashing back in my head, because she has a whole segment just on that. And she talks about how to know most likely when someone's lying. And she goes, when they go up at the end, it's like, I'd report it. It's like, if you end the sentence or end the statement going up, kind of like you're asking the question back to the person, but in the answer, like, I tell HR. It's like, most of the time, it's not that they're guessing whether or not they're answering it correctly. It's because they're lying. They wouldn't report it. They wouldn't say it. Now you can't prove it. And obviously it's more types of I can't think of the word, but it's things we can't legally and technically use in HR, but they're indicators that help when you should monitor someone based on integrity or concern. But it's like, I agree with you, Big Llama. You get in a room, just be quiet. But the thing is we in HR sometimes forget that. We get so comfortable, we forget, shut up. Why are you saying this to them? Why are you telling that to them? And it might be because they're in a senior position. Oh, it's okay, they're the director. Oh, it's okay, they're the vice president. What does that mean?
It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. You don't do
why
that.
do they? Yeah, because a lot of times, the more senior the individual is, the more guarded they are, the more protected they are, and that means the more actionable they want to be to that information. Because while we know it might be a lie or it could be the truth, they automatically go on the defensive. So what are they going to do? Are they going to call the attorneys right away, which we're not ready for? Are they going to start questioning people? Are they going to go change a policy that we can't afford to have changed right now because of how it would look in this investigation, to change the policy in the middle of it? The things that they do that have the repercussions based on the information may not be directly related to your investigation, but it could indirectly affect you. So I don't care what their title is. I don't care that they're the owner or the CEO. If you're not prepared to share the information, or there's not a legitimate, valid reason for them to have the details at that moment, then shut up.
Good advice. Good advice.
Shut
It's
the
the
fuck
HR
up.
Hunger Games.
There's your nugget for the night, children. Shut the
Exactly.
fuck up.
Yes. But I will say, I'm gonna send y'all her name so y'all could watch her. She is amazing. I love her to death. She has so many good sayings and quotes. And I think one of the things she says is, if you're easily offended, you're easily manipulated.
Ooh.
Why do you care about what people say about you? Like, that's emotional intelligence, is learning to control yourself, not snapping off, not responding just because someone said something. And I will tell you, this is where HR gets themselves in trouble again, because management will come and make statements. They'll come and make comments. They'll come and make accusations. And then you, depending on how devoted you are to the people versus the company versus integrity, you want to respond back. You want to defend. You want to, it's like Big Llama said, you want to fill the voice with your room. Shut up. Let them speak their piece and just appreciate their information. Like, you don't need to let it get to you if you're that emotionally attached, because there are some people that are highly offended when you attack the company, or highly offended when you attack the employee. We all know we've worked for someone that gets offended based on whether or not you attack the company. There's those that get more offended when you attack the employee directly. They're offended when you attack the policy itself. Everybody has their passion about what they want to protect. And then sometimes it's just themselves, which is a terrible person to be in HR. But
so
you just gave me the biggest takeaway that I will have from this conversation. The easier, what was it, Jake? The easier it is for you to get offended, the easier it is for you to be manipulated.
The easier you let someone offend you,
in my pocket,
the easier you're manipulated. That means you don't have confidence in yourself. You don't have the self-discipline to control and to pause and to absorb what just happened before you respond and think about what you're going to do before you do it. And then another thing that she talked about that kind of tied in with all that, and this kind of ties in with everything we're talking about today, which is, you would think that leaders, managers, directors, vice presidents, you would think, as much as they've been through, or if they've been through a lot, that they would have empathy. And it's actually backwards. The more someone has been through, the less empathy they have in the workplace, because when they're seeing it happen below them at a lower level, all they're thinking is, I've already been through this. I got through it. You get through it. Come on. I don't have time for this. And it causes frustration, because the lower level employees are thinking, okay, well, my boss or my director, my VP doesn't have empathy. It's like, no, just they have so much on their plate. They don't have time to stop and deal with the emotional aspect of it and have that empathy that you're currently having, that they did at that time before they got through it. And they have so much on their plate now, they don't have time to deal with it. So it's not that they don't care necessarily, may be the case sometimes, but they just don't have as much empathy because they've already dealt with it. They've already gotten through it. Now it's your turn, and they want you to do it the way they did it, but faster. And then if you think about that from an investigations perspective, or where that line is in the sand, that affects everything, especially that line in the sand. It's like our employees that are lower level in HR, they don't know where that line is, but they have a lot of empathy. And then you start getting to the directors and the VP of HR, and it's like they can find that line faster for the most part because they've already been through it. Mm-hmm. So they don't have as much empathy, or they don't exude as much as they should. Not saying that they can't when they need to, but they don't do it consistently on a daily basis.
I've had a different experience, I think, with a very high level, very different experience. It was more employee friendly, and it was eye-opening because working in investigation with this person, it almost felt like immediately sided with the employee before, kind of like what we talked about in our last investigation. That's what we should call our episodes, investigations. But they sided immediately with the employee, although there was mounting evidence against this person. nothing was done to them. In my opinion, it's because of the empathy that high level executive had for that person. So I could say I've probably experienced both. I have experienced executives that really don't care, and you could just tell it's a number to them. But this specific individual, I was very taken aback by.
Yeah. But don't confuse the word empathy as in caring about your employees, because yes, they could have had empathy toward that employee, which is why nothing happened, or they could have had a lack of empathy toward a full investigation because they've been through so many, and every single time the employee was in the right, or the employee, was the least negative in the situation. That it was always the other person, it was always the company, it was always the policy. So therefore, their lack of empathy toward the investigation itself caused them to draw a quick conclusion and just move forward with what they're used to. And it obviously could be that they're just too empathetic, because we all know that someone who doesn't move up appropriately throughout the ranks of operations, HR, or any level, they don't have the emotional intelligence, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the patience, they don't have the right kind of empathy. And to be honest, it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster based on the company you work for, based on how many direct reports you have, based on what type of work you do. Because I've worked for companies where I can afford to have full-fledged empathy for the employees, but stay neutral, do investigations, be happy. And then I worked for companies where it was the opposite, where it was, you can't show empathy. You maintain professionalism, but you're not friendly, and you can't show them this because, that's the company's expectations on it. And, and it just depends on every scenario. That's why every great leader and every great person that works in HR has the ability to, this is going to sound terrible, but manipulate themselves into being who they need to be for the job that they sit in. And, once again, I'm going to sing out this lady's name because I love her. She says, you hear constantly in work, bring your authentic self to work.
Wait, when did we say this? Because that sounds familiar. What?
Like she says that she constantly hears in corporate environments that they tell their employees, bring your authentic self to work. Her response is, no. You want to bring your authentic self? Take it to Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. I don't want your authentic self at work. I want your professional self at work. I want your hardworking self. I want your appropriate self. I want everything there is about you that's appropriate for the workplace. I don't need your authenticness at work. And there's a lot of people in the comments that I read that disagreed with her, but I don't, because you all know that the further you move up, you can't always be your authentic self. That doesn't mean you don't have integrity. That doesn't mean you're not being unbiased. It doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. What it means is that you're having enough emotional intelligence to control yourself, body language wise, verbal wise, and even mentally, to handle every situation case by case with what you're presented, the policies, the laws, the precedents, everything that's involved in that. So I agree with her on that. Don't bring your authentic self to work. I want you to be you, but I want you to make sure that you're catering yourself to the workplace. I don't want to know how you act at work and outside of work, because those are two totally different people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. I was gonna say I disagree with her premise, but it's also it goes by different names. Code switching, playing the game, knowing when to say certain things. Like we all, if you're good at what you do, you know when it's appropriate to say certain things or to be a version of your authentic self. But you cannot be the person you are outside of those walls. And it's sad. It's sad that you would think, okay, I can just be me. Yeah, you can be you, but then you will end up HR generalist and doing your job. You're a good person. You do your job. But if you want to move up, you got to know when to say certain things. You got to know when it's time to back off, right? Read the rooms that you're in, because not all the time do they want to hear your voice. And so, I disagreed at first, like what you were saying, but then as you were explaining it, I'm like, wait, That's exactly what we have to do. But it's exhausting.
You gotta be the ultimate chameleon.
You do. Like again, you walk in and leader is yelling, right? That's not the time to be like, hey, you know our policy on workplace bullying? Like you want to have that conversation later, and you want to like bring it in a little differently. If they're joking, right? That's not a time to be like, well, that could be offensive. Like, you have to just kind of figure out where you fit in, and obviously do not compromise your integrity. But at the same time, not everything has to be addressed immediately at that moment. I disagree. It was weird. You took me through a journey. I was like, this guy talking some bad shit. I don't believe him.
She did the same thing. I was on the same page with you when she initially started that segment, and she's like, "Don't be your authentic self." The first thing that popped in my head is, "Oh, she's crazy. What? I thought I liked you." And then she started talking about the examples of what she meant by like, you want to be authentic, you want to be the funny guy because you're the funny guy outside of work, or or you want to be the one that's so serious.
True. Inside and outside.
Yeah. What about those individuals that have resting bitch face that just like they always look angry? You have got to learn how to control that in certain environments, especially in like directors meetings and executives. Otherwise, no one is going to give you the chance to move up, or when you are making a joke, they're not going to know you're being, joking. They're going to think you're serious all the time. And, I'm not saying you need to be an open book, but you do, like Mama Mel said, you got to be a little bit of a chameleon all the time, which swings back around to know your audience.
Yeah, I was going to emphasize that. I cannot emphasize that enough. Know your audience. Number one, I think we say this so often, but people, and unfortunately, it's like the younger crowds, right? But people at work are not your fucking friends. They're not your friends.
Right. No.
Don't tell people anything at work because it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. Yep. Don't say anything. I don't want to know what you did on the weekend. I don't want to know your baby mama drama. I don't care. Please don't share it with me.
Look, Mama Mel, tell them if they want to know who their real work friends are, call them on a Saturday, tell them you got fired, and ask them to borrow $2,000.
Whoa.
You'll find out who your friends are, because if they're not going to pay your bills,
Okay. I was going to say your real friends are the just for friends trying to figure out each other podcast.
What it should have been would have been the ones you said that I just got fired. I need to help moving out of my apartment. Can you come over? That's the friend. Screw the money. It's, are you going to get out there and break your back to help someone that just got fired who was your work friend?
Well, it takes me 12 hours, but I'll come.
I'm going to say it would take me a plane ride and a rental car.
Oh, y'all are so nice. I don't have an apartment, so thanks all.
No, but can we address the real issue? The RBF, the resting bitch face.
Listen,
not you, Mama Mel. You pointed to yourself.
Literally, listen. That I've been told that so many times that I'm like, I just fucking thinking about lunch. Like, I'm just thinking about what the hell I'm gonna have for lunch. I'm just listening to you. Like, I've been told that for years, and I'm like, I don't know what to say anymore. I'm like, sorry.
I'm just trying to listen to the baby daddy on how he's gonna deal with the baby. What?
I'm just trying to hear my baby not crying on the side.
You know what? I will tell you that there's individuals out there that are told that they have RBF, but they don't truly have it. They have RBF moments. I know. To be honest, you all know me, and I have been told. I've been told a few times in my past that I have RBF. Where
we know. We called you that when we worked together. Okay.
I come off too serious. I don't. It's like it's a talent like anything else. You have to learn. Like, you literally have to be coaching yourself in your head. Like, okay, make eye contact. Okay, smile just a little bit, but not too much to look like you should be on Chris Hansen, Dateline NBC. It's like you have to coach yourself in your head during a conversation, but then you have to be careful, because if you talk to yourself too much in your head, you're not going to absorb the conversation you're having.
I don't
No.
think you have RBF, but I can always tell when you're multitasking.
Yeah.
I will agree, and I blame that on ADHD or ADD or whatever I have been undiagnosed with.
Blame yourself. Don't blame the diagnosis.
No. Even when I was in college, I can't have the TV on. I can't have the TV on. Yeah, I know. I graduated to 6th grade. But when I was doing homework, I couldn't have the TV on. When I'm on the phone, literally, I have to tell people, "Give me one moment. I gotta key this in." Because I tell people all the time, I apologize. I can't walk and chew bubble gum. Let me type this out real quick, because they'll want to have a conversation while I'm typing, and I don't respond when I'm typing because I'm talking in my head while I'm typing, and I can't talk in my head and talk out loud because then I might have more issues than I have now.
Listen, I'm just saying that you got RBF. I got issues with you. That's all I'm saying. Like, I look at you like, what did I do to you? What did I do to you? Don't look at me. Don't look at me that way. I just walked in the room. You give me that look. Throw punches are free.
Look,
that's all I'm saying.
Here's my analogy to that, Big Llama. It's okay to have RBF, but don't have it so much that when you smile, it's a Wednesday Addams moment.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Where it's just creepy at this point because you've never smiled in 10 years. Like it doesn't suit you.
So I do want to circle back a little bit.
Oh, yes.
I love that word, circle back. It pisses me off. Jeez.
It's a pro tip.
Yeah. What did you say? What? Reach into what?
Reel it back in.
Reel it back in.
Yeah, let's reel it back in.
For Jake, we were talking about that lady, and what was the premise of what she said?
On which topic? Which one?
The one we just got done going over.
Are you talking about bringing your authentic self to work?
Yes. Boom. Thank you.
I had to mind you. Shut the fuck up.
Y'all. We went down rabbit holes, and I lost what I was thinking. So I actually had a wonderful leader who told me. I said something, and it was like off the wall, ridiculously goofy, crazy. And that I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I was like, "That was a little much." And the response was, "No, just be you. Continue, be you." Now, I like the way you said it because I will agree wholeheartedly. There's a time and a place. Yes. In order to be seen as a good leader or a good person or good HR rep, you have to be able to know and realize. If the CEO's in a room, I'm not going to crack a joke unless I know that CEO or unless I have that relationship built. And then he would understand what I'm saying is really stupid but funny.
I think you would crack a joke.
Do what?
I think you would crack a joke.
I think you would too.
I would because I've done it. But y'all do know when y'all have worked with me is that I have my time and my moments when I'm serious, and that's just the way it is. Like I'm serious at the moment, and I'm just get up this damn meeting so I can stop talking to you idiots. And then I have RBF, and then I start looking like Jake from HR. But
Dr. Green, you know the difference between the level of jokes for work versus the jokes that we have outside of work. So when you think about bringing your authentic self, it doesn't mean you can't be who you are. It just means it's like there's a soundboard and there's all these different level knobs for personality, jokes, laughter, RBF, tricks. You got to know what level to have them on.
Listen, playing video games with Dr. Green after hours, you don't want that authentic self in HR. I'm just saying.
No, because then it comes back to the age-old question: who investigates HR?
No, I'm just saying for Dr. Green not to be investigated, we want him not to be his authentic video game self. That's all I'm saying.
You know, and that's good. That's a good way to put it too. It's like you have an alternate ego.
Yes.
An alternate ego and personality for work. Still be NSFW. Wait, sorry, be SFW, safe for work.
Okay.
And then after work, be NSFW as long as nobody knows where you work and it doesn't bring it into your work life. You know, be you. Be whatever it is. But you definitely won't hear me at work going, you stupid You just shot me in the face. I'm gonna kill you. You know, like we say all sorts of dumb things because it's Call of Duty, and you know, don't let the Big Llama fool you. That man has got a motor mouth on him.
Oh Jesus, we're not here to talk about that. let's reel it in. Let's focus and circle back.
Circle back.
We'll table that discussion for another day.
Keep up your professional facade at work.
Yes.
Don't overshare your shit. So let's give the peoples, our listeners, some real life scenarios, right? So let's talk through maybe a couple of common situations. So we can start with an employee harassment complaint. What do we do?
Okay.
How much, if anything, are we sharing?
Okay, so I'll do rapid fire on this. So employee harassment complaint, only the parties that need to know. Like that's on a need to know basis. For me, I don't discuss that one too much because it will impact the integrity of the investigation. Only sharing updates with key figures, right? My boss, right? And if there's a leader of some sort that I'm gonna, keep abreast of the situation, it'll be very high level, nothing specific. That's me.
Okay.
So for me, it really depends on the investigation because I've had one. I'll give you an example because this is where HR messes up. I had one where someone was offended. They felt like they were being harassed every single morning. This employee would come in and say, "Oh, good morning, honey. Good morning, sweetie." And they're like, they're sexually harassing me because they're calling me sweetie and honey. So I will tell you, I know a lot of people in HR that would literally sit down with that employee that's being accused and go, "Are you calling people honey and sweetie?"
Oh, jeez.
You just literally overshared the entire investigation. And then on top of that, you're now freaking them out versus sitting down with, Becky and saying, "Becky, when you come in the morning, walk me through how you greet everybody on your team. Explain to me how you say hello to people. As soon as you see an employee on the floor, what's the first thing you say to them?" Like, you want to do open-ended questions. You want to give them a chance to answer your question with an open-ended question. And it's like, because once you share certain information, you can't take it back, and you've now given them an escape path. Like, no, I've never said that. Or, you know what? Yeah, I call everybody sweetie, when in fact they may have only called one person sweetie. But you've not given them an opportunity to even explain how they greet people in the morning. To them, I grew up in Alabama. So when I moved out of Alabama, I used to call people honey all the time until someone's like, "Oh, that I don't appreciate that. That's harassment." And I'm like, "Oh, I had to work on that." But if someone was to sit me down and say, "Well, how do you greet people? What names do you call them when you greet them?" I'm like, "Oh, sweetie, honey, darling." It's like, I would have told them myself, but that would have told the HR or the investigators that I'm doing it fair and consistently between everybody out of culture and not harassment. So it makes a difference in the outcome of the investigation on intent. So to me, that line, it depends on what type of investigation, because if you're saying harassment specifically, then be careful what you share, even to the accused in the questioning.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've dealt with the same thing. In the South, it's sweetheart, honey, and if you're in New Orleans area, and I'm saying it out loud, babe, baby. That's what they say. It's very weird. Still throws me off to this day. And I'm like, whoa, wait.
Clearly not married to a woman of Hispanic descent or crazy descent.
No, that's Poppy and Mama.
If the words of me addressing another woman were baby, honey, sweetie, dude, I'm gonna be in the hospital of some sort.
R.I.P. Big Llama.
I'm not calling you baby. Don't worry about it.
No, listen. The freaking the waitress will come in, or the server or hostess, and be like, "What can I get you, sweetie?" And I swear to you, the daggers come out of her eyes and say, "Like, how do you fucking know this person? Like, do you know her?" And I'm like, so trust me. For me, it's sir, ma'am. Yes, please. No, nothing.
You
No
got
baby,
me.
no honey.
You got me thinking of the TikTok videos of the Latino women. Like the guy opens the door for a woman and she goes, "Oh, thank you," and then it shows what she sees, which is like him spinning her around, getting down on one knee, proposing to her, and she's getting on to him, and all he did was open the door for her.
Yeah, no. He's like, why you open the door for her? Just saying.
So, in saying that, there's a bunch of little Southern colloquialisms.
Okay.
Little sayings, little things that Southern people do versus people in the North. So, this is not what all New Yorkers say, but y'all heard the thing. Hey, I'm walking here.
That's offensive. I'm offended.
Colloquialism of someone who in that area says that. And then what?
I get it. I know I get what you're saying. But like I said, there's something that will beat it out of you. Just saying.
I will tell you what I had to get used to when I came to El Paso was the term papi and mama.
Hi, papi.
And understanding when it is and is not acceptable based on age and what age the person's saying it to what. Because like here in El Paso, a lot of older women will call like younger guys papi, but not in a sexual way. It's like it's endearing, or it's like, if you have a young daughter or a teenager, they'll call them, hey mama, come here, mama. But if the younger saying it to the older, then it can come off as inappropriate, depending on especially the tone they use when they're saying it.
What? I call my dad papi.
Well, because he's your papi.
Dad.
But I will say,
by definition,
when the word papi leaves my mouth, even though I'm talking to my dad, I'm like,
because it just, it's kind of like someone ruined your childhood for you, and
yes,
it's probably your husband.
Let's reel it back in. Let's reel it back in, Papa. Let's go.
Circle back.
So circle back, Poppy.
That's cringe. First of all, super cringe. When women call their husbands papi, I'm like, cringe. To me, if you call your significant other that, cool for you. For me.
Okay. Just because this would be an entertaining moment.
Yes.
So while y'all think of what your nickname is, that's just so different from what other people would say. Like, think of your nickname. So for mine, I have no idea how this came about. Schnookums, but then she likes to call it Schnookums Poo. So come here, Schnookums Poo. And I have no idea where that came from. And so, but it's because one day I said to her, I was like, "Hey," why don't you have like a nickname for me? And she goes, "I don't know. I don't like baby or anything." Like, she didn't like that. She hates the word babe, baby. Not for her to come out of her mouth. I call her honey. I say honey all the time. Like, honey, what are you doing? That it comes out naturally for me. So when she wants to be cutesy and funny, she'll say, "Oh, my little Schnookums Poo." It's crazy.
My skin is crawling.
Type of romanticism in my life. I see Jay and I'm like, "What's up, big dog?" Like, it's like, "What's up, homie?" Like, that's my boy. He walks into the kitchen. "What's up, big dog?"
See,
what's up, homie?
If I don't have a lot of nicknames for Alex that he likes. Mine are more for if he ignores me or doesn't respond. And the biggest way I annoy him is I call him by his rank.
First sergeant.
Because he'll ignore me, and then I'm like, or he'll say something to me like I'm a soldier. I'm like, "Oh, Roger that, first sergeant." So
that burns.
But honestly, like all the goofy nicknames, I have those for my kids, not my husband.
What are your kids?
Well, I won't share two of them, but one of them, like my middle son, I call him Booger Butt.
Booger Butt, yeah. I call my son Booger Butt.
I recently started calling my daughter.
what is a booger butt? That's
a white person. I guess it's a white person thing. I don't know.
It's a total raisins in the potato salad moment right now. Like booger butt, booger butt,
booger butt.
That's like calling Taco Bell Mexican food. Like that, just booger butt.
Hey, yo quiero Taco Bell.
How long you been thinking about that response there, Big Llama?
Which one? Booger butt? Never.
Mexican food. How long you been holding that one?
Taco Bell is not Mexican food. It is Americanized crap.
Llama, what do you call your kids? Also, your kids are older.
Yeah.
Is it dumbass?
No.
Is it bro?
Bruh. No. Look, my youngest, I call him Buka because it's Luca Buka is what I used to call him. So Buka just stayed there, so I call him that. Jojo or is for Angela or something like that. But that it's a weird moment when I do it now. When they were smaller, it was nicer, but now they're like
it's cuter when they're small.
They're like, hey, Dad, like, yo, you know.
I don't know why. I call my oldest one. His name's Anthony. I call him Antoine. Well, because when he ignores me, I call him Antoine. Like, Antoine. He just comes downstairs and looks at me with like the most like deadliest, no emotion, but I want to kill you stare all in one.
Be careful.
We all know we've been risen by different backgrounds and all that stuff. We all know that we were raised differently. Maybe not for Mel and Big Llama, but we were all raised differently. My mom's nickname for me when I was a kid was Chatty Bear.
Chatty Bear?
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Is it because you did too much of this?
Yeah, probably.
Chatty.
Chatty. Oh, not Chatty.
Yeah, like my name.
Can y'all guess what my nickname was?
Dumbass. Sorry, I've been using that a lot.
I know.
I feel like it's something super sweet.
I feel like it's something that's so obvious it'd be on the screen.
JJ?
I don't. My family never called me by my real name. They always called me Jake, and it had something to do with my grandparents calling me Jake after an old wrestler back in the day called Jake the Snake.
Oh, classic.
And so I always went by Jake. Now that was when I learned to talk. Before I learned to talk, my mom used to just call me her little birth control.
Oh, jeez.
Oh. You were the ultimate BCGs.
I know. It's just I'll admit it. I was a terrible child. I'd be the one that like hid inside the clothes racks at Walmart.
Oh, you're my son, is what you are.
They have the T-Racks now. They don't have the round ones. The round ones were the fun ones.
Yeah, they were.
No, I was a terrible child. So yeah, I don't, I don't
apologize to your mom right now.
I do every
day. Listen, I have been taken on the moniker of Big Llama, affectionately, because as a child, I was called every Hispanic name for fat kid. Gordito, Gordo, Chancho, Chanchito. Like you name it. Like that's how my family knew me. Ven aquí, Gordo, come here, Gordo. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, I'm not that fat. Like, I was round. Okay, I had rolls. I got it. Indented nipples. I got it. I get it. But like that, but when my grandmother says it to me, ven aquí, Gordito. I'm like, oh, Grandma. You call me Gordito on the playground, I'm punching you. But like, I don't know. But I don't know. I like nicknames, but they hurt. They hurt me for sure.
All right.
No diabito.
I bet he was in the cookie. Abuelita, can I have a cookie?
Okay, it didn't help that I did live up to the name in both size and in appetite. Yeah, there wasn't a meal I turned down. Gordito, you want some of this? Yeah, see, I do.
I don't know why. I just see Big Llama just running around like a little kid with his hands like going, give me some food. I don't know why. Just popped in my head. Started watching them.
If there was a family function and there was food, I was at the table eating that food. I'm just
Don't
gonna
feel
say.
bad. I was always the fat one in my family until high school, so I will share pictures with y'all one day.
I
was
have
skinny.
deep-rooted issues with that statement.
I was a little chubby in middle school and elementary.
Listen,
At least I
let's talk
think I
about
was.
finding the balance.
Wait, did you ever say your nickname, Mel?
No.
Wera, mamita.
Weta.
Whereas,
Were you too white?
Like, where are you at?
Like you were too white or something?
Yeah. No, well, that's funny because I call my son that.
What?
I'm gonna say he's darker than you.
But he's really not. He's super light.
Like Kenny.
In pictures.
Let's not start these rumors. I don't want Mama Mel to meet Mama Llama and have beef. I don't need this.
No. So, wrapping this one up, let's bring it back. Circle back. Where's our balance, guys? Are we keeping completely silent? Are we oversharing? I think, in my opinion, it comes down to the scenario and situation. Everything's going to be different. And like most things in HR, one size does not fit all.
Mm-hmm. It's like a policy. You can make it general, but you can't make it for every single situation.
Agreed.
And
What about you, Dr.
there's a
Grant?
saying about transparency. It's so clear it kills careers.
Did you just make that up?
ChatGPT did it.
All right. So for you HR professionals out there, right? The one thing I can say is consistency is key. So whatever you're doing, anything that you're doing, be consistent, be fair. You can be most of the time open, right? As the boys have said, without oversharing details, names, times, etc., etc. But ultimately, HR, it should be a confidential space, and in my opinion, that piece should never leave. I'll leave that to your interpretation, but we can kind of go around the horn and, as someone said, wrap this puppy up. Jake, talk to us.
I never got the phrase. I think she said Jason.
I don't know.
I said Jake.
I heard Jake.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to wrap the puppy up because that's how you kill the puppy.
Oh my God.
But no, I agree with you. I think my guidance comes down to two words, but not literally, which is shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Only share what you absolutely and necessarily have to. Other than that, shut up. You don't need to tell people. You're going to want to. It's going to feel good on the inside. You're going to be encouraged to, especially if you're a gossip person or you love to talk. Just don't. Shh, hush. Listen more than you talk. And if you talk, let it be for the right reasons, with the right words, with the right people. On to you, Big Llama.
Well, I was going to say, along with the shut up is, I like what you're saying. Shut up, listen, but read the room. Okay, read the audience who's there, who is sitting in that room. What are your words going to, how are they going to impact? Are you levying an accusation? Are you going to say something that might, cause a rift? Read the room. And it takes the silence, right? It takes the listening, the silence, and to look around and go, okay, how am I going to maneuver in this chess piece right here? How am I going to say what I need to say and not either offend the entire table or keep it close to the vest so I don't give away too much about an investigation, but also be informative, right? It literally is something you need to think about before you speak. So again, along with being quiet, think before you speak and then read that room for sure.
Okay, I think my best advice is that you're not going to get it all right. Just go ahead and understand that you may get fired because you're going to do something wrong, whether it's an investigation, whether it's in something new that you've never done in HR before. Don't do the best you can with the knowledge that you do have. Because we know that we have HR assistants who become HR coordinators. HR coordinators become HR specialists. HR specialists become HR managers, etc. Don't hold yourself so hard because you are going to make mistakes, and it is okay. Especially when it comes to this, you're going to learn a lot of these things as you go along. You're going to learn to shut up because you're going to get burned like Big Llama was talking about earlier. I've been burned enough to know I'm shutting up and I'm not talking to that person ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, if you tell more than one person, how do you know which one was telling the truth, who was lying, etc.? You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes on those things, and that's okay as long as you are learning from those things so that when you get to the next org, you'll be the best HR person that's there. That's my advice. You're going to screw up. It'll be okay. I promise you. You'll be fine.
When in doubt, reach out. Don't get fired.
When in doubt, call Big Llama.
That's right. Get some help.
Get on.
When in doubt, email the Just for Friends.
There you go. We only charge $100 per hour.
That's
so. As we bring tonight's investigation to a close, we say this with much love. Until we call you into the office again, just shut up.
That hits different.
Good night, everybody. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's another episode of the Four Friends Trying to Figure Out HR. We didn't solve anything, but hey, at least we tried.
And by tried, we mean we laughed, we overshared, and we probably violated some HR guidelines ourselves.
But remember, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take our advice. Seriously, don't.
And if your HR manager asks, you've never heard of us or this podcast.
Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, and join us the next time as we keep trying to figure out HR and fail spectacularly.
Now, go be productive, or at least pretend to be.
And tell your boss that I said hi.
Tell your mom I said hello.
Tell your daddy I said hey.
And remember, hate has no home here.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.